Hey folks, not the video I was planning on making tonight. That was actually going to be about Chinese artificial intelligence and machine learning and how it probably won't work anywhere but China. You'll have to stay tuned for that one. I think I'll probably drop that on Saturday now. This press briefing from the White House and the National Security Council just dropped, and there was some information in it that I kind of pulled out and thought was really interesting that's going to be dropping tomorrow. And I thought it would make for a good quick hitter and a good way to touch on a topic I've wanted to hit for a little bit here. The main piece of information here actually comes from Admiral John Kirby. So he's talking about tomorrow that the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz is going to be visiting Washington. And he mentions the Germans having given a Patriot system to Ukraine, as well as an IRIS-T air defense targeting system. Does some commending of Germans' increase in their defense spending. He also mentions President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, is going to be visiting Washington on the 10th. So a lot of transatlantic coordination ongoing at the moment. And Kirby also touched for a minute briefly on the upcoming national cybersecurity strategy. I actually also have a video planned upcoming on that about artificial intelligence and its application to cybersecurity or maybe lack thereof. But really what's interesting about what Kirby says here is he notes about, maybe a third of the way through this release, halfway through this release, that they are planning on announcing tomorrow a unilateral increased support for Ukraine. Another round of assistance is what he calls it. I think it's ammunition and basically refilling ammunition for the HIMARS systems and for the artillery. And Kirby goes out of his way to note this is unilateral. And why this stuck out to me was it actually reminded me that I've been meaning to make a longer video for some time now about how the United States, really what we need to do is have a bipartisan legislation through the Congress to confirm and reaffirm our support of Ukraine, our military aid to Ukraine. And just with everything going on, all the other videos I'm making, I haven't had really time to dig into it deeply, but I thought with this news dropping tomorrow, I would rather just do something than nothing and just note, really what Putin is doing here is wagering, right, that we will waver, that the United States and the NATO alliance will waver, and that the citizens of these open societies will lose interest in supporting this Ukrainian side of this conflict. You can see this already in places like Italy, where especially in states where the economy is kind of a mess right now, where inflation is high, where energy prices are high, the support for actually aiding the Ukrainians in their battle of self-defense against autocracy has wavered. But in a game environment, in an adversarial game environment, where your counterpart, where your adversary is betting that you will lose interest, and at that point he can overwhelm in the venue that he's operating in, obviously the best thing that you can do is send a strong signal that your support of this conflict on your side of it is going to be durable and agnostic to changes in administration, to changes in the weather, right? You want to make sure that you're sending as strong a signal as possible that you will continue to support the Ukrainians in this context. So it's a little bit counterintuitive, right? To get to peace quickly, to get to a negotiated settlement or whatever it might be as quickly as possible, we actually need to send a signal of increased strength and commitment, not decreased strength and commitment. And I think looking at this next tranche of investment coming tomorrow from Admiral Kirby's comments, I think that's obviously a good thing. It signals again for the short term that in this moment, our support hasn't wavered. But what we really need is strong, unified, relatively unified, bipartisan congressional approval of something to help support Ukraine. That's what's actually going to get us closer to resolving this in a quick manner. And if you're interested a little bit more in this, I have a previous video, I'll link it here, about why the MAGA wing of the right wing of the GOP kind of gets a pass on this, why they're allowed to sort of be doves in this context without kind of getting pilloried for it, and how this highlights some of the cleavages, some of the divisions within the current GOP. But anyway, I want to do a quick hitter here. I'm interested for your comments. I think, again, the takeaway here is these piecemeal steps are great, but we need a unified and congressionally approved package that will make a commitment over the long term to supporting Ukraine in its defense against this, what is really a colonial conflict, and obviously a colonial aggression by an imperial colonial power. So I appreciate it. Thanks for watching the video and look forward to your comments.